Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Advisicon training. My name is Sean, and I'm a project coordinator at Advisicon. Today's lesson is titled Organize and Execute Projects with OneNote. My hope is that you will find useful tips on how to manage your project with the framework of Microsoft OneNote. Advisicon is a group of authors, teachers, consultants, and technologists offering training in project management and methodology, as well as leveraging Microsoft technologies. A little more about me. I have a background in education and specifically mathematics. I have taught mathematics for over 8 years. I enjoy leveraging the power of technology. Technology allows us to do repeatable processes efficiently and accurately. This is helpful in many fields in education and probably yours as well. I'm also experienced in OneNote, and I hope to present useful information to you today. When asked the question, what is project management? We might get a lot of different responses. Depending on the field you work in and the type of projects you've worked on, you might have a different set of experiences as you come to the project management table. And you can see a word cloud here that encompasses many of the aspects of project management, some of the methodologies, including Scrum, Agile, Waterfall, some things that maybe get under people's skin, such as that triangle of constraint, pain points, maybe even communication might be a challenge for you in your project management past. Well, we're going to address 4 of these aspects of project management specifically. We're going to look at connectivity. When we pick a project management tool, are we able to utilize different apps and then have them integrate into one central app, perhaps? Often in project management, we don't want to touch the data multiple times. We just want one touch of the data, one source of truth. So can we see all of that one source of truth in one location? Secondly, can we collaborate with our project management tool? Projects are commonly done with multiple resources and multiple team members. Are those multiple resources able to see and use and contribute to our project? Do we have a tool that will allow this to happen? Thirdly, organize. There are many parts to a project. Are we able to find them? Are we able to store them so that they can be found? This is another question to make sure we can address in our project. And fourth, is it efficient? Can I achieve much with using little? My hope is that when we look at this with OneNote, that we can answer yes to all of these questions. So we've addressed who we are as Advisicon, and we've set the table as to what aspect of project management we're going to look at. Next, we're going to ask which tools are available. This comic here helps to illustrate that you need the right tool for the right job. In this case, the problem was a large nail, but the problem solver here thought that I need a large screwdriver, but perhaps they didn't first look and assess what is the problem, what are we trying to achieve here? And if they had looked properly and saw that it was a nail and brought a hammer, they would have got the job done. But they didn't properly assess what is the problem here. So we need the right tool for the right job. Now, Microsoft offers many, many tools. Teams is probably one of the premier useful tools in the Microsoft range of options here. For me, at least, it is very familiar. I ranked it high on familiarity, and to me, it didn't take too much time to master. Now, range in familiarity and time to master just depends on your experience. For example, I really have never dived much into Azure DevOps, so I know very little about it. And to me, it would take a lot of time to master. OneNote sits at this point on the scale where it is not yet probably familiar to many people, but it doesn't take a lot of time to master. And I hope you feel that way as we go through OneNote today. OneNote also has a strong connection with Outlook and other apps. But we're going to especially explore that connection with OneNote and Outlook. So again, going back to the idea of, are we picking the right tool for the right job? So what kind of job might OneNote help with? Well, it's definitely a lighter weight tool, lighter weight projects where we don't have too many resources, where we don't have too many parts to it, yet we can still be efficient, we can still be collaborative, we can still be connective, and we can still stay organized. In this next section, we're going to actually do a demonstration in Microsoft OneNote to help our company, Nimble Monster, with their project. Let's look at this quote here from Winston Churchill. It says, "Those who plan do better than those who do not plan, even though they rarely stick to their plan." So it just gets us to think that we need a plan when we do a project. You need a plan. You may not stick to that plan, but at least you have a pathway to go towards. You can at least have a defined path that we're going to start at point A and end at point B. We're going to traverse all these obstacles, and we might have to make changes along the way, but at least we have a plan, and as we reach a certain point, we can make adjustments at that point. But we need a plan as we get into our project. I realize that when we do projects, there are many different paths we could take to achieve our goal. Sometimes we get enticed away by all the different features of different apps that we just lose track and we spend more time perhaps managing those features than actually doing the work. As we begin this project, we want to assume that we're always going to use OneNote as our integrating hub of truth, of knowledge, that all our information is going to be kept in OneNote. You could keep it in Teams, you could keep it in SharePoint, you could keep it in OneDrive. But to achieve connectivity, collaboration, organization, and efficiency, our plan is only to use OneNote, or at least mainly use OneNote. As we saw in the previous quote, we can sometimes get off track, but we're going to say OneNote is our source of truth. All right, let's get into our demonstration. First thing I want to make sure you see is that we are using OneNote for Windows 10. It just looks a little more lightweight, a little more streamlined in my opinion. So how are we going to first organize? That's our first aspect that we're tackling, is how do we organize our project? Well, think of your notebook, your like a physical book, and that is your actual project. Everything from this project goes into my notebook. You might have several notebooks, but here's my Nimble Monster project notebook. The next level of organization to notice is sections. You might think of these as tabs, like you had in your notebook, or if you have a physical notebook, just sections. They're like perhaps chapters of a notebook. I've just given us 4 chapters to work with: the initiation, the planning, the execution, and the closeout. The way you organize your notebook is up to you. The next level of organization under that are pages. Here in the initiation section, we have these 4 pages. If we click on another section, we will build the planning section together. Our execution section has these different pages, and so does our closeout. If we look back at the execution section, there is even another level of organization to add, a sub-project. So for example, here is where we might build the schedule. And within the schedule, these will be the different tasks that are assigned to different resources, where we put the different durations and things like that. Now again, perhaps we are doing a lightweight project and it doesn't require durations or specific hours worked. Again, this is more of a lightweight tool. Now here, how do you add that sub-task? You add a new page, and then let's say we call this the 4th sprint. Now it automatically added it under schedule, but if I right click, I can either promote it back to being one of these levels of tasks, or I can, again, put it back to a subpage. So that's the levels of organization, where the notebook is the project, the sections are the summary tasks, and each page under the summary task is an individual task. Next, I'd like to show you under the Insert tab some of the features that we could use to manage this project. In the execution stage, under the status report, I've inserted a printout. So let's say I want to keep all my status reports here. So if I want to find my status reports, they're all going to be under status reports. If I wanted to, I could even add subpages. So I could say status report on this date. And then again, make it a subpage. And then when I get my next status report, the following week, I'll just add another subpage. And now I'm neatly organizing my status reports. So what works best for you is up to you. You could organize them all on one page or have separate pages for your status reports. Again, we're trying to keep OneNote as our one source of truth. Everything integrates here. It's easy to get using all other tools as we go in this project, but we're trying to keep OneNote as our one source of truth. The next thing I'd like to try to show you is how to insert an Excel file. Now this was pretty neat because it keeps it live. You can insert the Excel file and everyone can look right here and see it live. You can't do changes from OneNote, but you can click on the link that will take you to work in the Excel file in the Excel app, and then come back here and see it live. So I'm going to insert a file, and here's my pre-made budget example. Now, here's what's really neat and harnessing the power of the cloud is I'm going to upload this file to OneDrive and insert the link. Putting this file in OneDrive, again, puts a cloud base. Now, everyone that has the link can work on it, and the changes will be done right here. So it's going to upload. Now, as it uploads, I'm going to open the link. It is web-based, so notice that. Now, this was a generic budget, but let's start making some changes. Let's say, all right, I'm going to tailor this to look like my company wants to. We're going to delete rows and even amend text. So it's now our budget planner. Okay, let's close that out and let's see, does that make changes in our main file? Let's give it a second to refresh. And there you see that the texts have changed, the default graphics have changed. So this will respond in real time, well, real enough. And everyone has now visibility to the budget. Everything is right here. In this next section, I want to talk about connectivity. How can we connect Microsoft OneNote with other Microsoft apps? Here we are in Outlook. And if you look at the ribbon up top, you will see certain Microsoft OneNote options. If I click this one and I say, let's add meeting notes, it's not connected to any folders yet. It's not connected to any notebooks. So I have a meeting, but I want to put it in a notebook. Well, I have to connect Microsoft Outlook to OneNote. So we go File, and this section, which is referred to as the backstage, kind of the behind the scenes of how things are configured. We go to Options. In this section here, we want to look at the Advanced section and scroll down. At the very bottom, this option here says Use Send to OneNote with OneNote for Windows 10 if available. So now that enables the connection to take place. We come back here, you can see our ribbon has changed because now we've connected OneNote here. So we're going to now say, let's take this meeting that we scheduled in Outlook and I want to connect it to a OneNote notebook. Here's my Nimble Monster notebook, and it's a planning meeting, so let's put it in the planning section and save. Okay, notice it was called Nimble Monster Planning Meeting. Let's now go to OneNote and see if it's there. Here we are in the planning section of our notebook, and yes, there it is, Nimble Monster Planning Meeting. All the attendees are here. We can even link back to that Outlook item. And remember, Outlook is just a big notebook. So now I can start taking meetings. I could take meetings right in here. I have the link to the Teams. And again, we're keeping OneNote as our hub of information. Now, if we go back to Outlook, we'll see that not only meetings can we connect to OneNote, we can even connect emails. So let's open an email. Here's my email regarding Nimble Monster Planning. If I open it up, I can read it. It says, "Hey Sean, make sure to discuss the risks at the planning meeting." Well, now I have a option to say, you know what, that needs to go in OneNote, so let's send it to OneNote. Again, where do you want it to go? In our Nimble Monster notebook, and we're discussing planning, so yes, let's put it there. Now let's go back into OneNote and make sure it's there. So we had our calendar meeting there, and now if I click here, yep, there's that email with the from and to when it was sent, and the item, the content of the email. So again, keeping everything in one place, organizing it by sections, and if I wanted to even subpage it, that way I could maybe say all emails will be categorized this way, and promote this back out. Now I can say, here's all the emails regarding planning, and I could even say, here's all the calendar meetings that happened regarding planning. So again, very flexible, very customizable way to structure your project so that it fits your needs, but yet you can stay highly organized and now even connected. In this next section, we want to discuss collaboration. How can we use OneNote as our collaboration tool? Let's say with our Nimble Monster project, part of our management plan will include weekly huddles. So under the management plan, that's what I'll write, a weekly huddle. And we're going to organize it as a subpage. Now, I have weekly huddles. Perhaps I'm actually going to name them by the huddle. So for the huddle for today, okay. And we can put notes here. Now we've arranged a meeting with Outlook. OneNote doesn't coordinate schedules like that, but we can use Outlook to connect with OneNote. We're going to add a meeting that we have from already arranged in OneNote. Here's the huddle, and when we click on it, it inserts the information, the time of the meeting, where. We can even have notes that are included in the meeting details. We can also include the participants. Something else that's a nice feature is that we can say, mark this as a to-do, and as your meeting participants arrive, you can check they were present. So you have a nice, neat record of the meeting date, time, and attendees. Now, what are we going to discuss at this meeting? Well, we had notes already put there. As I created this meeting, I had some agenda items. So I'm going to bring those out, or I could work right within here. But if I wanted to expand on them and I was going to be giving assignments, I could say David's assignments and discussions and notes from here. Then I'll make another box for David and another box for Dominic. So anything they discuss or anything assigned to them, I could type here. So as the meeting goes on, we could be discussing, and David says that his next task will be to connect with the development team in our project. David O is in charge of doing some more research for our project. And Dominic, his next task is to connect with client. So again, that's how you can collaborate. Remember that we are trying to keep OneNote as our integrating hub of information, our one source of truth, so that after the meeting, all the participants could come back in here and say, what was discussed at that huddle this week? Oh yeah, that's right, that's my assignment. So that's one way of doing it. You could definitely take notes down here, but if, depending on your style of work, maybe everyone's going to work right within here. Maybe David follows up and says, here's what I found, and his notes go here. And same with Dominic, same with David. And this is all internal, one source of truth, all visible, so that our project can have success. In this next section, we want to talk about how to be efficient using OneNote for Windows. Let's say, for example, we're going to discuss the letter of engagement with our Nimble Monster company. But instead of putting notes right here, whereas we want to keep this as our main document, let's add a subpage to have a huddle discussion. So I'm going to make it a subpage. I have already planned a meeting regarding this, so I'm going to insert the meeting details. Again, this connects to Outlook. This was already arranged in Outlook. Now, I have the meeting details. I also have the meeting participants. I want to make the checklist again to say who was here. Okay. Now, David and David were able to attend in this meeting, and we discussed our things we need to do, and we even made notes. However, Dominic was not able to attend this meeting, but I have some assignments for him. So I'm going to make a section for Dominic, and because this section includes details and things that are very important to this letter of engagement, I want to make sure that Dominic heard everything that was discussed about this. So I'm going to include an audio recording here. Now you can see as soon as I had clicked audio, the recording began. So it is now recording through my microphone. A question you might have is, does it record the computer's output? Unfortunately, it will not. It only records me speaking because I hit record. So if multiple people wanted to leave an audio message there, they need to have their microphone turned on. It will only record what comes out of their microphone. All right, here's my message to Dominic. Is I'm asking him to please prepare the letter of engagement, and in this section, the scope of service section, here are the changes that we need to make. Our hourly has changed. The courseware changes to 95. Now notice I said 95, but I typed 90. That type of audio recording allows Dominic to hear the correct thing, even though maybe I typed the incorrect thing. Or at least allows him to say, wait, I think I need to check before I write the letter of engagement. And then finally, waive the travel expense. Now, Dominic wasn't there. I'm going to stop the recording there. Now, Dominic wasn't there at the meeting, but he can now see what uh, his specific assignment was. If I were to play back the assignment, it would go along with the text here. So let's forward a little bit. And you can see if you were listening to the recording, it would be talking about this specific section right now because it's matching it. I'd like to recap our webinar today. You know a little bit more about Advisicon and myself. You know that project management has many aspects of it, but the ones we focused on were connectivity, organization, collaboration, and efficiency. While many of those projects can be accomplished using the Microsoft suite of tools, today we focused on OneNote and how it can bring all those four elements of project management together. We even demonstrated that with our friends at Nimble Monster. So just remember, leave you with these four ideas. OneNote is great for connectivity, collaboration, organization, and efficiency, and I'm sure you can think of much more applications to your project. If you found this training useful and would like to see how Advisicon could help you maximize your impact, productivity, and purpose, please contact us at advisicon.com or on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or even Instagram. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you in the next video.